Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Illegal Mist, and today we're going to do a Pythion showcase, and we're going to see all of the areas in the game that he can be utilized. Let's get right into it. For this showcase, we have Pythion built specifically for more PvP focused role, but he's able to sustain in dungeons as well as in Hydra. For Pythion, we have him built with 65k HP, 3.3k defense, 249 speed, and 565 resist. For Pythion's A1, it's a double hitter that heals the ally with the lowest HP by 5% of this champion's max HP. This is a nice heal because if you build Pythion a lot more HP based than other champions, he'll go in and heal them by more than 5% of their HP each hit. You also get 20% healing from this skill, so it gives you an additional 2% healing in total. For Pythion's A2, it removes all debuffs and then heals them by 10% of their HP. It also heals by an extra 5% of their health for every debuff that's removed. So if we use Pythion on a stage like Dragon 10 Hard, we get 4 poison debuffs placed on us as well as a weaken. Pythion will go in, he'll remove all of those debuffs, and then he'll heal the team by a pretty substantial amount. He also goes in and places the block debuffs for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. I talked about this in my Oella showcase, but when he's paired with a champion like Oella, she can go in and increase the duration of the buff, and then Pythion's block debuff will be on a 3-turn cooldown, and it'll get increased to be 3 turns, so essentially it can be placed all of the time. So he pairs really well with a champion that increases the duration of your buffs. For Pythion's A3, he revives all dead allies with 50% HP and turn meter, and then he also places a strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns. The reason Pythion's such a good support champion compared to others like Raka, who's a Void Legendary, who also provides heals, a cleanse, a block debuffs, and a revive for the team, Raka's not as good because she uses her revive all of the time as opposed to only when allies are dead. Because Pythion only uses this ability when allies are dead, it's always up if your team is able to sustain. And with a champion like Pythion on the team, he'll be able to give that team the sustain, he'll get back to his revive, and if anyone else does go down, he'll have the revive ready again. For Pythion's passive, allies receive 5% less damage from skills for each debuff on them, and it can stack up to 25%. Typically, Pythion's only providing 1 buff with the block debuffs, so you want to try and pair him with other champions that provide buffs. This ability is very similar to Duchess, and it's one of the reasons that he gets compared so often to Duchess, but their skill kits are a little bit different in ways that make them vastly different when you actually use them. So when you compare Duchess and Pythion's passives, Duchess gives your team a 25% damage reduction for AoE attacks, where if you use a champion like Pythion and you use him in the arena, if your champion has 5 buffs on them, and then another champion on the other team, such as Rhodos, goes in with his A2 or A3 ability, Pythion's able to mitigate 25% of that damage, provided they have the buffs on them, where Duchess won't provide any sort of passive damage mitigation. This passive, along with his affinity being Force, makes him a much better champion when going against other champions that are single target, like Rhodos. Pythion's aura gives him an ally resist in all battles of 60. This is the same aura that Necrit has, and it's a very solid one if you want to use him in all areas of the game. If you're able to get a blessing and you plan on using him specifically for PvP, I would highly recommend using the Polymorph blessing, as you'll gain additional resistance and tanky stats, as well as the ability to sheep the enemy. You could also go for a blessing like Intimidating Presence if you want to get additional tanky stats and you want to increase the leader of your team's aura. So if you had a champion like him in the lead and you wanted to focus resistance, you could make sure that you got that as well. For his masteries, we went down the defense and support trees, specifically focusing on things that will keep us sustained in fights, as well as being able to heal our teammates with that A1 and the cleanse and block debuff skills. So we can try out Pythion on hard 10 of Ice Golem. We'll have Nishak and Dark Kale for the wave clear, Geomancer to help us take down the boss, Oella for some heals and sustain, and then Pythion will be our reviver as well as the tank. We can see Pythion came in there a couple times and was able to revive Nishak, as well as he would cleanse and place the block debuffs, so we didn't receive decreased defense or the heal reduction. Okay, let's try this team out. The kind of goal of this team, we're going to have Seer help us take down the waves. Oella will be our main healer in case we get hurt. Pythion will come in with the cleanse and block debuffs, as well as a conditional revive in case we need it. We'll have the decrease attack from our boy Dark Kale, and then Geo will hopefully help us take down the boss. And I just remembered that I didn't turn off Karma Burn for Seer, so this is probably going to fail, but let's just see how it goes. Actually a super solid time. I'm really surprised by that team. As you can see, that was the fastest I've done it on my account as well. So Pythion with the cleanse and block debuffs, as well as the passive protection on us, was super nice. Dark Kale's decreased attack was clutch, and then Seer obviously with the nukes. We got pretty lucky because Karma Burn didn't go out when the boss was going to retaliate until the very end, and he did have decreased attack up. Okay, let's try out that same team. This time we're going to have Oella in the lead so that she gives us the resist against the boss, and let's see how we do. Okay, so a sub 3-minute team with these guys. Again, you could see Pythion coming in with the cleanse and block debuffs was clutch. The passive ability to reduce the damage we were taking was nice as well. And then we had the support with Dark Kale and Geomancer to really help us out. Oella giving us some heals, and then the increased resistance to help with the poisons. We can also try out a team like this if we want to. That way Nishak will be our main damage dealer against the waves. Okay, so this team, just over 3 minutes. We could see we have a lot of room to optimize as well. We don't have a main wave clear other than Nishak. You could see Pythion coming in. He actually did a substantial amount of heals compared to Ice Golem. And that's because he was able to cleanse the poisons, and then he heals based on those poisons as well. Okay, we can try this team as well for Dragon. This time we'll have Drex go in, and he'll be able to help us with the wave clear as well as additional burns on the boss. So just over 3 minutes for this team. I know we can make the team a lot faster, but I just wanted to show champions that you might have if you did the recent fusion for Oella, Dark Kale obviously from Doom Tower, Drex from 3v3, and then Nishak, who was in recent fusion as well. The majority of the champions here can be interchanged, but I think what you could get from when we went against the dragon specifically, Pythion was able to give us the revives, he was able to place the cleanse and block debuffs, as well as give us a bit of heal, and then we had a champion like Dark Kale give us the decrease attack as well as the poisons to help take down the boss, and then Nishak just helped along with that. We're going to try out this team for Arena. We have Pythion in the lead for a little bit of extra resistance for him and Wither. We have a cleanse from Wither as well as the heals and increased defense. So she'll be throwing out a lot of continuous heals, which are a bunch of buffs that we'll get, and then it will help Pythion's passive. UDK will go in and stop the Rhodos, and then we have our own nuker. Realistically, they're going to have 2 control champions that we need to neutralize. We'll do that between Wither and Pythion, and then Ultimate Death Knight will stop their nuker, and we should be good. So we can go in, we'll place the cleanse and block debuffs. Now, if your Carl was going to use his irresistible freeze, we have the block debuffs up, so we're good. We'll place the increased defense, so that way we don't take as much damage. We can go in with the nuke. And we'll take out their reviver, and then we can set it to full auto. Alright, so everything kind of went according to plan. We were able to take them out pretty easily because we had the block debuffs and the cleanse from Pythion, and him being in Stone Skin just gives you that extra layer of protection. So I don't know if we'll win this one, but we can try it out. We'll have the strong A1s from our candy, and hopefully the ultimate Death Knight will be able to kind of neutralize Trunda, but let's see. So they go in, we resist the strip, which is really nice, and we also resist the increased duration of cooldowns, so we can get our revive off, and then we can go in. Let's place the increased defense on our champions. We'll try and provoke Trunda, which we do, which is awesome. And then they try and strip us. This time, what we can do, we'll just try and take out their Arbiter. We'll go in with the cleanse this time. And now we don't have the decrease attack. Heal up our champions with Wither. And then hopefully we get back around to Candy. We do. This time we'll take out Trunda. And we should be good. I'll keep manualing just in case the champions want to get weird, but all we need to do is take out Arbiter and we're chilling. And yeah, we can definitely see how Pythion really helps that team. And then the resist in all battles is super clutch too. All right, perfect. Just like that. So while it might not be the fastest team, typically a Pythion that's built in Stone Skin will be in a go second team. And you can see, even when we go up against champions that might go first, we have the ability to get back around to our abilities, kind of reset ourselves, and then counterattack. The nice thing about Pythion is he's also viable in early or mid-game clan boss. You can use him as he's going to be able to give your team a little bit of heals. He'll revive the team if they go down, if you don't have a speed tune, and he'll also be able to cleanse any stuns on your champions. After mid-game, he falls off though, as he doesn't provide enough damage and his abilities aren't really centered around clan boss specifically. Let's try out Pythion on Brutal Clan Boss. We have Geo coming in as our primary damage dealer along with Husk as our secondary. We have two AoE champions in Uko and Krisk. Krisk provides us with the primary provoke followed by Husk, and then our Uko is in a provoke set. Block debuffs from Mighty Uko, and then Pythion comes in this team as the only source of healing really, and then he'll also provide us with the cleanse and block debuffs, and then he has the revive that's much more useful than Uko's. Uko uses his revive all the time, as well as gives us the increased speed, which is nice, but if your champions go down, his skill might be on cooldown, and it might be the difference between being able to make a comeback on Hydra or your team failing. So Pythion really kind of holds the team together. I know we have a primarily force-based team, but let's go in, let's see how it does. Okay, so 36 mil on this key is pretty solid. We can see Pythion came in with the vast majority of the healing. I watched for the majority of the time. I was clicking on heads, but otherwise it was full auto. I don't think anyone went down, which was super nice. Pythion giving the damage mitigation as well as the heals from his A1 and his A2. So he did super well on the team. I'm actually pretty impressed that this team was able to do a 1-key brutal. I had ran it a couple times and the team died around like 10 mil, but then when I started targeting heads that ate my champions, I was able to go in and get the 1-key on the first try. So just because Geo isn't super smart with his AI when champions get eaten, that was kind of the only difference that it really made. So happy with that key. I'm gonna end up keeping this one too. There you have it, guys. Pythion is a well-rounded champion that if you pull, you'll be super happy you have him. And if you did the recent fragment event, I'm hoping that you guys pull him soon and actually build him out. Pythion gets compared a lot to Duchess, and while they do have similar kits, I've come to realize and appreciate that his kit is a little bit different, and it's better in some areas, but worse in others. That's all I've got for Pythion. I hope you enjoyed this champion showcase. He's a fantastic champion for all areas of the game, and if you pull him, make sure you build and book him as soon as you can. This champion is viable in early, mid, and late game, and wherever you want to use him, he'll be able to provide your team with the support that you need. That's all I've got in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.